Hello, welcome to Ken Beer Reviews. Right, I have a beer from the Netherlands and it's from Browerij De Molen. It's their Mout Mocca Russian Imperial Stout coming in at 10% ABV. It's brewed with coffee, basically. I think their coffee's from Guatemala, Antigua and it's Cuban Dark, so it's 3 different types of coffee variety in this beer. Is there anything else on here? Right, it's got barley malts, it's got pills and cara roasted malts, and then their bittering hops are, I can't even pronounce it, Premiant and Saaz malt, hops from the Czech Republic, I believe. So yeah, it's coming in at 10% alcohol by volume, 85 IBUs in this one as well. So that's quite a lot for a Russian Imperial Stout. So the IBUs are very high, so they must have used a hell of a lot of malts to try and balance that out, I'm guessing. Quite a lot of sweet malts, especially if it's so barley malt, so it's a very quite a sweet malt. So they've obviously used a lot of malts for that amount of IBUs to be in there to balance this beer out. There is 2 different versions of this beer, or I think there's some with barrel-aged versions of this. I've done a little bit of research on this one, and there's another one, 11.6% ABV. But this is Mout Mocca 2. That's what this is, and apparently it's a retired beer. That's what I've looked up online anyway. So yeah, any other information here? It's used top fermenting yeast. Trying to see. It was bottled on the 8th of May 2015, and they want you to enjoy it by the 8th of May 2020. So I'd kind of want to drink that miles before then, because I think a lot of the coffee flavour may have faded by then. But anyway, let's get this beer out into a glass and see what this one brings. I've been looking forward to this for a while. I purchased this beer at the Kent Beer Festival last month in Canterbury. There's always a De Molen stand there, and they bring a few of their range over. So I've only got a third glass here, so wasn't that funny. Go down the centre a little bit. Look at that! Wow, that's fallen on the floor. Oh well. So you got a 2-finger sort of tan coloured head. It's in the light. It's actually it's a lot kind of there's a little bit of light bleeding through, and I wasn't expecting that for a 10% Russian Imperial Stout, to be honest with you. Anyway, let's get an aroma on this amazing sounding beer. So you're getting loads of roasted malts, really loads. You're picking up coffee. It's not overwhelming. It's definitely that kind of roasted coffee, black coffee. I know it sounds completely like what's that got to do with coffee? But I'm picking up something like you know, like tomatoes you get in a spaghetti bolognese. Tomato puree almost. It's got a red wine quality to it, kind of a vinous. You're definitely getting that kind of mince spaghetti bolognese aroma. Tomatoey, weird. Anyway, smells absolutely amazing. Look at that, it's even got slight readiness. You see that? It's weird. Like a red wine you put in spaghetti bolognese. Alright, let's give it a try. Cheers. Oh, that's complex. That is complex. It's a really kind of very full-bodied mouthfeel, very smooth. Not a beer. This is a sipper, not a chugger, for sure. You're tasting the IBUs in this. It's really quite bitter for a Russian Imperial Stout. Try and generate more of a head again. There we go. You're tasting the alcohol. There is a bit of alcohol to this. You know you're drinking a high ABV 10% beer. So you roasted malts for sure. There's a slight smokiness, little bit of woodiness, but very little. But I can't get away from the that spaghetti bolognese kind of, you know, tomato puree, ketchup kind of taste, aroma. It's not in the taste particularly. I don't know, perhaps it is. But very sweet at the front end. Dark fruits, roasted malts, coffee. Although the coffee is not, it's not blowing your hair back, you know, and all that sort of thing. It's subtle. It's more, the more I'm drinking it, the more it's starting to come out a little bit. And the beer has been in the fridge. Perhaps that wasn't a good idea. Perhaps that'll intensify a little bit as it, you know, the beer gets up to room temperature. It's been out of the fridge now for probably about a quarter of an hour. I had to go somewhere, and I was called family thing, so I've had to stop this video and then come back. So it's a little bit nutty as well. There's a little bit of nuttiness going on. It's an amazing beer. It's so complex to try and explain in 5 or 10 minutes, to be honest with you. I think sometimes you get a beer as complex as these, you need to drink them for probably half hour, 3/4 to get the taste buds flowing into your mouth. For me personally anyway, I pick up different flavours with different mouthfuls, but obviously I can't chug this back, it's 10%. So I don't know, I'm debating coming back and for the last part of this beer and perhaps doing a final tasting for the last bit of the beer. I know one or two other beer reviewers do that, like they come back. Greg's Beer Reviews is a typical example that he does that in every review. He starts his beers off at fridge temperature, no matter what it is. Does the initial thing, cuts his videos in half basically, and then comes back 3/4 of an hour later, depending on the beer. Certainly for a Russian Imperial Stout, will come back 3/4 of an hour later. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. I know I've already gone and come back, but for tasting purposes and getting my palate adjusted to this, that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, I'll be right back. I'm back again. I've still got a fair bit left, but it's warmed up quite well now. It's much more bitter, miles more bitter than it was before, and you'll really taste a lot more alcohol straight after the bitterness. You're getting that coffee near the end of the palate now. Let's take that off. Excuse me. That spaghetti bolognese kind of tomato puree kind of taste, that's kind of tailed off a bit now. You're left with a lot more alcohol now it's warmed up. As for a rating on, what's it? It's just there. Mout Mocca from Brewery De Molen from the Netherlands. It's coming in at 10% ABV. I'm going to give that, I'll give that an 8 out of 10. That's an 8 out of 10 from me. If you've had it before, although I'm not sure if this is still available. I've heard that this one is, this beer, I think it's the Mout Mocca 2, I think this is. I think this was first produced in 2011, but this particular version, it's been retired apparently. So if you've had this before or the other version, put your comments in the comments box. Please subscribe and cheers.